Welcome to the Pursuit Podcast, where we discuss pursuits in business, the outdoors, and life in general. Proudly recorded in the Sip Outdoors studio, I'm your host, Corbin May. The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the host and its guest alone and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of Pursuit Properties or Sip Outdoors.
As I walk through the valley of the shadow of death.
We have paper towels up here, but I don't think so.
Take a look at my life.
Might have to dip into them later. But, well, what are you doing now that duck season's over?
Shoot. Being a family man.
Yeah, I
now.
say, is the wife like, oh, I have a husband?
Yes, she is. She's excited that it's done for, I got a lot of stuff going on in February, but March should slow down for me a little bit.
Gotcha.
Trying to go turkey hunting a little, but,
Yeah.
not a crazy amount.
Yeah. I got you. So how would you say the season went? What was it like? I know it finally got cold there towards the end. So.
Yes. So everybody can say what they want, but I think it's based off weather. Everything locked up north, and we probably killed the last 7 days. We probably killed between 250, 300 ducks. We were in them heavy there for the last week, and we had food sources, rice. We had flooded rice that, they hadn't been here all year, so it wasn't ate out or anything like that. So they keyed on it big time.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun.
I actually had a buddy that smoked them in a dry field in the Mississippi Delta, and I'm like,
which never happens.
rare.
Yeah.
Rarely happens. They were goose hunting, and ducks just started piling into the spread.
Yeah.
And he had a few duck decoys he always puts out for confidence, but everything was just so locked up and cold, but there was still food in some of the dry fields, and ducks were just piling in.
Oh, yeah.
And we never see that around here. You see it up north, but I think it just goes to show you that ducks don't mind the cold, and they'll be resourceful even if everything's locked up.
Yeah, they will. We had ice eaters rolling and trying to keep holes open for ducks, and it was a long few days there. Getting up, making sure it's still running in the middle of the night. And,
So I know that the hot topic right now, especially with all the guys in Louisiana talking about the flooded corn. There's a lot of debate going on about that. I'm all for providing habitat, but I would like to still see some more information about if it is affecting the flyway.
Yeah, I think it does, for the early seasons. And, I talked to my dad about this is what if we can move our season to go 2 weeks into February?
Yeah, and it's never going to happen.
It's never going to happen.
It's never going to happen.
Because they're, the birds are pairing up, and, once they lose their pair, they never find another one at that time. But, we just our cold weather keeps getting pushed back about a week every year. And when we get the cold weather, you don't hear any complaining at anybody because everybody's killing ducks.
Yeah.
So it's just tough, but.
Yeah, and we can't control the weather. I guess it's frustrating though, is because we've seen areas that used to not kill ducks just absolutely slaughtering it now, and it's hey, the Mississippi Flyway used to be the premier flyway for waterfowl, and I feel like I don't know necessarily the flyway has shifted, but there's definitely been, a lot more, I would say, just increased exposure. I don't even know, because if people were hunting them as hard back then, now with social media, perception is reality. So I don't know, guys smoking them in Kansas, Oklahoma, Texas. I even had a buddy that was wearing them out in Wyoming this year. And I'm like, I would have never thought of, going duck hunting in Wyoming.
Yeah. And supposedly California's duck numbers have increased big time. Yeah. So I think it was 43% this year it increased by. So, it's just a challenging part. If everybody says it's moving west, so everybody's starting to go farther west, we'll just see what happens. And then you have Arkansas that has a 2-week split, which I kind of like. You start the week of Thanksgiving, hunt that week, and then you got 2 weeks off. But then you run into the problem of some of those places are probably flying on corn and doing things like that to hold birds on their area.
Yeah.
So, which we'd probably run into too, but.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's my thing too. I think a lot of people get upset about it and call it a form of legalized baiting, but I think that most of those same people, if you had the resources to do it, you'd be doing the same thing.
Yeah.
But I do want to know is that premier habitat for waterfowl? Because we know that just like a deer, that carbohydrates is only a certain percent of their diet, and they need those little vertebrates and insects and everything else that they eat, and different types of ponds and different types of habitats. So I don't want us to only be providing that.
Yeah.
And that's why, I really want to bring a biologist on and talk about this too. And, just talk about the different habitat structures for waterfowl, and what we can do as far as conservation and for hunting success, because, we want to have waterfowl for a long, long time.
Yep.
This is something I want my kids, my grandkids to be able to enjoy in Mississippi. And unfortunately, based on what I've personally seen in the last 20 years, it's y'all might be shooting some wood ducks.
Yeah.
But
and then another big thing this year was they showed the rainfalls over the last few years. We only got 5 inches of rain this year. We usually average 10 or more.
Really?
So that could have been another factor if not a lot of water's around, in the sanctuaries and things like that. And
Matthews was low.
Yeah, Matthews was low all year until the final week, and then when you drive in there, the sanctuaries to your right, you can actually see ducks swimming around, walking on the mats, eating the vertebrates that you're talking about and stuff like that. So it was good.
Yeah, you got to have water, and that's something I saw. A biologist wrote an article. I think it was in Outdoor Life, and there was basically a reply to the Senator Kennedy from Louisiana, and they were talking about how Louisiana has had a significant decrease in habitat, and a lot of that is water.
Yeah. And then they're doing more sugar cane and stuff like that.
Correct. So now we've got a decrease in rice, which is decrease in habitat. Now we got sugar cane. I don't know too many mallards are landing in sugar cane. No. So you've got a multitude of factors, I think, that are playing into it, but I think hunters are hurting. They're seeing the effects of it. They're not killing as many ducks. They don't feel like the ducks are getting here until the end of January. But my thing is hey, when we get the cold, usually the ducks are showing up.
Yeah, and that you might as well just get ready for that 1 week of the season, because it'll make your year basically. We had scratched them out all year, but that final week, I'm like, okay, I had a great year duck hunting. So it's just about the right timing. And going back to Louisiana, one of the most prominent places, Honeybreak Lodge. I mean, they're still killing ducks year after year. It may not be in the numbers they used to, but they're still smoking them.
Yeah, and it's been a big shift too, because if they're killing a lot more teal and pintails. They're not as killing as what we would. Pintail's big duck, but gadwall and mallard, and that's something too that we have seen increases in different types of species too. So it's are we talking about overall ducks? Or are we talking about mallards? But I think when most people are talking about duck numbers, they're focusing on mallards. And Mississippi Department of Wildlife, they issue the reports every year and each month in the waterfowl season with the duck numbers based on the flyovers, and they list the different types of dabbling ducks and mallards concentration and stuff. But mallards have definitely gone down over the last 10, 15 years.
Yep.
I don't have an exact, reason for that, but when I was actually in grad school at Mississippi College, my graduate dissertation was on waterfowl migration and climate change. And so I spent a full semester researching the topic about how or if climate change, and I'll put that in quotations, I call it more of climate shifts, because I think the climate's constantly changing over time. But looking at say the last 50 years, how has that affected current waterfowl migration? And what I found is that one of the major contributions is their breeding ground up in the prairie pothole region is actually shrunk, and it's moved further northwest. Yeah. So if you look at the prairie pothole region on a map, it's up in the northern Dakotas and up into to Canada. And we're seeing their breeding ground dry up. And so these ducks are moving further northwest already just for their breeding ground. So now we combine that factor that ducks are already further northwest, and then we're getting less cold front, less, I would say, severe weather patterns that stay. We'll still get a cold front, but if you look on historical weather patterns over the last like 50 years, we're not getting those week-long cold fronts as often as we used to.
Yeah,
and that's just data.
Yeah, and as a hunter, you look at it and you're like, okay, we should have them this weekend. Well, 1 or 2 days of 30-degree weather isn't going to get them here.
No.
You may have a little push, but you're not going to have the push that you think.
No, ducks like cold. It has to be pretty severe to push them down.
Yes.
Like they do not mind cold weather as long as they have food source and they got open water. I mean, shoot, they'll hit dry fields.
Yeah.
They're resourceful. They like cold. It takes a lot to push them down, and it's going to take several days for things to lock up for us to get that push of ducks. Mm-hmm. But another contributing factor was decrease in habitat. So the controlling of the flooding of the Mississippi River over the last 50 years has been drastic. And then also I just saw where they are passing, I think Trump passed with the completion of the pumps like in the Delta. And so that's going to, affect flooding as well, which I'm all for. But with increased infrastructure and increased controlling of natural flooding in the Mississippi River has inevitably just, I don't even think that's a word, but I think it has taken away natural habitat for waterfowl.
Yeah. Because
we don't have the drastic flooding or the, I would say the random flooding because we've got so many levee structures, and also we've got all these backwater lakes like Lake Enid and Grenada and Sardis and just like all these, Ark Butler, like all these lakes that were put in place by the Army Corps of Engineers to control flooding of the Mississippi River and then in the Mississippi Delta. And so all this backwater, I mean, like you'll go to like Sardis in duck season, it's mud.
Yeah, it's nothing there.
Because it's getting ready for all the spring snow melt to come down and the river to go up. I've got a buddy that I hunt with on the Mississippi River, and when the river's up, the hunting is really, really good. Well, the last few years, the river's not been up, but we haven't had the rain that we've had, and then the river will jump up in spring. It's like, well,
that doesn't
ducks are already moving back.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. So we've got a lot more control over the flooding, so that's just natural less habitat. And then you go into the agricultural practices. We've seen an exponential increase in row crop agriculture out west. And then also we're not farming as much rice as what we used to, especially in the Mississippi, Louisiana, Arkansas Delta, just because crop prices and the cost of flooding it and just all these different factors that play into it. So when you combine all these things together, I don't think that it is a surprise that we're seeing less waterfowl. And then people are like, the flyway has shifted west. I don't necessarily think that the whole flyway has shifted, but I do think that there's been a direct impact on the Mississippi flyway because of multitude of factors.
Yeah, whatever it is, it and just like you're saying on the Mississippi River, I mean, there's a lot of, we're in real estate too. So there's a lot of clubs that are like, oh, this duck hole is dependent on the river getting out. Well, that duck hole probably hadn't had water in 3, 4, 5 years.
Yeah, I think the river was up 2 years ago.
2022, 21.
Last spring it jumped up to like 23 at Vicksburg. Like I always run off the Vicksburg gauge just because that's near where I hunt. But I know Vicksburg got up to like 23. But like this year, I think the highest was like 8 foot.
Yeah, it
was 8-9 feet.
It was nothing this year, basically.
Yeah.
So
sandbars everywhere. I mean, it's not getting out of the main channel into really anything.
Yeah, and it goes back to the infrastructure that you're talking about. I mean, we used to hunt up in Tallahatchie County, and the Tallahatchie River, they dredged it to where it wouldn't flood out anymore. So 2 or 3 years there, it would flood out, and there would be ducks everywhere. But they dredged it, and since then, it hadn't gotten out of its banks. So, that's another thing that used to happen that doesn't happen anymore. And I get it. They're trying to manage flow and do things like that. They got to. And there's farmers that farm
people's
right
livelihood
there.
and their houses.
Oh,
like, I mean, I would much rather someone's home didn't flood than me have
100%.
ducks.
Oh,
you know?
yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's like
Ducks is only for 60 days. That home's
yes.
there, may have been there for 30 years.
Yes,
So.
and so like, I get it, but I think that you can't be naive and just jump to the one thing. It's like, oh, they're flooding corn up north. That's why we don't have ducks. It's like, man, you've got to look at all of these factors to make an informed decision. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I still don't feel like I have like all the facts. I really want to like bring on a biologist and talk more about this, present some of the research I have or just my firsthand experience. Like, I've been duck hunting since I was 4 years old, and I've grew up hunting in the Delta, and I've seen duck numbers decrease like over time. As a kid, I was just like, well, it's just not getting as cold, you know, or I was like, man, maybe I was just a little kid. I just thought it was always cold. I don't know.
Always
man,
cold.
But
And seemed like you always killed some kind of duck.
yeah, you killed some ducks, but I just remember it always being freezing. Like, we would never go down until after Christmas anyway, so it was always January. But I just remember every time I went duck hunting, it was freezing.
Oh yeah,
It was like
I mean, we
odd.
used to not duck hunt until after Christmas. I mean, we would go opening weekend and then wouldn't pick up a shotgun again until January 1 or December 26, whatever it would be. And then going back to the farming, it's like you either farm for ducks or you're farming for a living now. There's no in between.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm seeing, at least, or talking with farmers, doing things like that. They're like, I got to get ready for the next year, because if I have water, it may take, into March, maybe April, to get that water off of that field.
Yeah, especially when that's when we start getting the majority of our rain.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's not uncommon to drive through the Delta in the early spring and just be floodwater everywhere. It's like, that'd be nice during duck season, but it's not nice right now when farmers are trying to get the crops
in and make a living. And
so I think it's a lot of different factors that we have to consider, but
it's still fun. I'll still do it 60 days out of the year. I can tell you that.
There you go. And then and the deer hunting's good, because now we're not
great.
losing habitat. 'Cause that's another thing. I mean, you will wipe out a deer population. I mean, that's why they shut it down when the river gauges hit a certain level. I mean, these deer don't have anything to eat. They get pushed up to high water levels. So it's like, it's just nature, I think, balancing itself out. I love to duck hunt, so obviously I want ducks, but at the same time, hey, maybe enjoy the deer hunting.
Yeah. And, when it did flood, they missed a whole age gap there because they moved out and then didn't come back. So now it's actually starting to get back inside the levees. At least you can start seeing the 4.5, 5-year-old deer starting to show back up.
So I was going to ask you about y'all's place. I know y'all are over in the Delta. How did what'd you see on your deer population like this year? Since I know y'all had some flooding a couple years ago before y'all had that place, but like, what's it looking like now? Are you seeing like a gap in deer, like age wise, or is it pretty like consistent?
There's a little gap right now. It did flood. I guess it was really last year when it got out pretty bad and stayed flooded for a while. But no, there was a little gap this year. You had your old deer, and then you had about a 3.5-year-old deer. That 4.5-year-old deer wasn't really on the property this year, because every deer we killed was either 5.5, or my dad killed, I think, one 3.5-year-old deer. The 4.5-year-old deer just weren't there.
Because y'all are in the what program are y'all in?
DMAP.
Yeah, so DMAP. So
Yeah.
y'all have to report every single deer jawbone. So this isn't just guessing.
No,
Like,
this isn't guessing. This is
age
facts and things like that. So yeah, the deer I killed was about 5.5. My dad killed a 5.5-year-old deer. He actually killed a 7.5-year-old deer too, a 7-point. And then we had 1 or 2 3.5-year-old deer that were obviously pretty nice, but we probably should have let live at the end of the day. But that 4.5 just never. And even when you were looking at cameras, you're like, oh, that deer's probably 3.5 or 5. There was no like, oh yeah, that deer's 4. All that's pretty much guessing until you shoot them. But
so for our audience that's listening, and so it's DMAP.
DMAP.
So can you explain that program a little bit about? I know it's a way that you get permission from the state to shoot X amount of deer.
You'll have tags. So you go into a tag system. Then when you get into DMAP, they say, hey, you need to shoot 40 does.
What does DMAP stand for? Is it depredation?
Depredation, Mississippi. DMAP. I cannot remember at the moment.
Deer Management Assistant.
Yeah. Program.
Deer Management Assistance Program. Okay.
Yep. But yeah, they'll come in and be like, hey, you need to kill this many does.
Okay.
And you're like, okay.
So it's a free service that the state comes in and provides. So they'll come out to your property.
Yeah, you'll either do like a camera survey, which thermal drone surveys are getting more and more popular.
Yeah, those are awesome.
And then there's another kind of survey that they don't do much anymore. I cannot remember what it was. But, yeah, they kind of do a survey and say, hey, this is what it is. And the property we have had it over the last few years. So it was kind of like, hey, this is your number that you need to hit, which is very difficult to do, by the way. You're like, oh, I can go out and kill 40 does until you're doing it. And you're like, oh, goodness, I got to kill another doe and clean it again and do all this stuff. And it just gets into it's almost like another job.
It's another job trying to kill all these does. You never think, oh, just go bust. No, it's like, it's kind of hard.
Yes. And then...
especially if you're trying to kill a buck, too. You're like, man, I don't really want to shoot a doe today.
And then they look at your bucks, and you're supposed to take the whatever the 30%, like, they think the 30% that's not going to make it into a giant deer, that's what you're supposed to take out of the herd, too. Which... I kind of agree with that, but you never know what genetics are going to bring, especially if we're going to plant vetch and do things like that to increase the, have protein there for them and all that stuff. So you never know what's going to happen with a deer. But that's kind of how they laid it out, which their main goal is about the does. If you can manage your does, you're going to have food for the rest of your herd. So, but we did pretty good this year. We didn't hit our mark on the does, but, I mean, we did fairly well. We got very close.
Well, how many did you end up killing?
Like 33. Okay. 33-ish, something like that, which we got a late start and stuff like that. But, this next year we'll definitely hit our numbers. It'll probably be a little higher than this year, but we're going to stay on top of it more.
Start a little bit earlier.
Yeah,
y'all didn't get on that property until November?
Yeah, 1st of November. Yeah. So there's a whole month there where that's when we really like to kill our does during bow season. So you're not, firing a weapon, which I know there's silencers now and they're awesome. But, we'd much rather carry a lot of guest bow hunt and be like, hey, let's go track all these deer and have a good time. And
safer. And then, to me, it's easier just to kill does too, like that time of year. And then, you're not really wanting to shoot does, especially getting around the rut, because, chasing and stuff too. There's a lot of different factors. And then I'm kind of like, I need to shoot some does, if I say I know how many I need to kill, like on a certain property, but then it's like late season, like, man, that doe's probably been bred. And then you're like, am I shooting a doe that could be carrying a, state record? Whatever it is,
And then, we're going, during the month of October that's coming up here, we're going to try to get most of them, if not almost all of them, done in that month there. That's easier said than done. We're going to have a lot of people out there, so hopefully you'll come and join me.
I'll be there. I'll be there. I will.
Oh yeah.
Love shooting my bow. So that's what I want.
It's a lot more enjoyable killing a doe with a bow, in my opinion. Yeah. You just get the whole experience. It's just better.
That's what I love to do. So I'll definitely be there. Well, so transitioning like right now, so we're in February. We just finished up duck season. I know turkey season's right around the corner, but I don't think a lot of people, I say that, I think more people need to know how important it is to start deer plot prep now.
Yeah.
So walk us through that, kind of like what are y'all doing? What are you recommending? Like what products are you recommending, from the store and getting stuff out there? What do landowners need to be doing this time of year to get ready for next fall?
If you're... Depending on what you have, you can go in and burn the habitat to where it regenerates throughout the year. And then you can plant food plots of vetch. And then a lot of people like to do just straight protein in their feeders, which is good. But you got to stay on top of that. The vetch will just regenerate each year, about 2 to 3 years. And then I'd probably say redo it again.
Plant it after 2 or 3.
but it's just something to keep the deer around and
that's
to keep them
be
healthy.
Like your spring, summer plots,
Mm-hmm.
Because the frost will kill that.
Yes.
So you're going to want to wait till after the frost, or is it hardy like when you first plant it?
No, you probably need to wait till about March. Okay. I would say March. We're probably clear on frost, if I had to guess. Just based off.
My wife's grandmother, she always knows when the light's Friday. Don't be planting your plants until
then.
This day after Easter.
Yeah,
she's always spot on. She said, "I got the almanac, kid."
Oh, goodness.
But I'm telling you, she's right.
Oh yeah,
she's always right.
Yeah, they are always right. But
so getting those in later March.
Yep. And then right now it's just like, we're stocked up on feed still because there's going to be people that come in and want to feed all the way through February to be able to get them to that March date and our stuff when it starts to regenerate and things like that, which we're about to get hot weather right now, but sometime in February, we're going to have another cold snap, whether it's 2-3 days, another week, whatever it is. But it's going to happen. So keeping your feeder stocked, and we have tubs that last 2 to 3, 4 weeks, which is another good source of protein there and stuff like that. So, and then we also have minerals already. It's a good time to do it now. So during the wet season, it gets soaked in the ground, and the deer start to come to that all the time. So
I think a lot of people put out a mineral block in the middle of the summer, and it's like
it takes, if you do it in the middle of summer, then you got to hope on rain, and then it rains late, and then by the time it's August, and you're already put down corn.
And they need those minerals for the antler growth. Like that's like the main reason why we're putting it out there is to promote healthy antler growth.
And to help the does replenish.
And getting all the vitamins and minerals that they need, and putting it. But I do think a lot of people will put it out as like a deer attractant. It's like, I got mineral lick right here. It's like,
you're like, well, it'll help you out next year, but right now it's bringing deer in, but it's not really helping them much.
Yes. So getting that stuff out for sure. So planting vetch. Do y'all sell vetch here at Sip Outdoors?
Yeah, we can.
Okay.
Yep.
Gotcha.
It's something we had done a little bit of the protein last year, and it's actually cheaper to do the vetch than fill all your feeders up with protein. The price may not look the same, but you can plant a lot more in that vetch than you can in a bag of protein that's going to be gone. And if you have a gravity feeder, it could be gone in a week.
Yeah, or sooner than that.
Yeah.
But luckily, I don't feel like the raccoons mess with the protein.
Not too much.
Corn.
Yeah. If you have hogs, they could knock it out and eat it too. So that's never fun. But the vetch is the route we're going this year, and seeing. Okay. We're going to test it out and see what it does and how it does. Early season bow hunting is going to be great also. It'll draw them in, and that first velvet weekend to the first week or two of October before we get that first frost, about the second, third week of October, it'll be good.
Gotcha.
So,
and then we talked about the burning practices. I mean, it's so good for your turkeys, but then it's also great for your deer too.
Oh, yeah.
Allowing that sunlight to come in there, getting those natural forbs, briars, things that they love to eat. It's essential to their diet, like, getting that burn off right before it sprouts up and everything starts greening up. Yeah,
and right now is probably a good time to do it because, we had a big freeze, and there's a lot of trees that got snapped, or, a lot of pine trees. No matter, a lot of trees got hurt, but, to do it right now, there's going to be even more sunlight getting down in there and stuff like that. So
yes, and especially with the ice storm we just had, a lot of these, like, you're going to need to burn to get rid of a lot of these deadfalls anyways, but if you wait too long and you've got a lot of deadfall, it can get too hot.
Yep.
And I think that's where a lot of people, and if you're not familiar with burning, hire someone to do it.
Yes.
Call someone, but
call the fire department and just go after it.
Don't, if you do not feel comfortable burning, don't just get out there and start burning.
No.
But if you are, practice, safe burning practices, be aware that if you've got a lot of deadfall, you're going to have a hot fire if it's dried up and you're burning later in the year. So like right now, a lot of stuff's still pretty green, still pretty fresh. So this is actually a great time to burn it. And also it's pretty wet. A lot of people think, oh, it's wet. Well, the ground's wet, stuff's dry. I mean, you get a good wind, and it's great.
dry up.
It's dry. It's a great time to burn.
It is, because
And
that
Lamar's-
ground's wet, so you're less likely for it to jump or something like that
Correct.
into something else that you may not want to burn. So.
And we're not having is like the high. I swear, like in the spring, it's just seasons rolling in. You start to get a lot higher winds. So being aware of your wind. Also, it's cooler. I don't really like burning when it's 1,000 degrees outside. Getting those burning practices in, like right now, really help out your turkeys and helping out your deer population later in the year. So I think that's something a lot of people don't really think of. They're thinking timber management for turkeys, but it's really going to help out your deer well, especially if you're burning specific areas of your property. I'm not saying go just burn the whole place, but alternating different areas on your property where so they can still have bedding, have those thick areas and stuff, but rotating those burns, it's going to improve the health of your timber. It's going to improve,
Improves everything.
It really does.
The browse that the deer have and things. It'll improve everything.
Yes, it's one of the best management practices that you can do. Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely. I'm a big believer in it for sure. But yeah, I know we've been talking about just hunting and stuff this whole time, but I wanted to bring you on because first of all, thank you for letting us use this space.
Oh, you're welcome.
This podcast would not be a reality without you and your dad allowing us to use this conference room. This is awesome. We really do appreciate it. Kind of tell us what got you started. So you've been with Pursuit Properties for how long?
Going on 2 years.
Okay.
Or almost 3.
Gotcha.
I guess, really.
Gotcha. So not long after you got into real estate, you started
This
Sip Outdoors.
Yeah. Yeah. It was about a year into real estate. We've been here, a year and a half? Yeah. It was about a year into real estate. We started to, which this has been a thought in our minds for a little while now. We used to go to the Meat Mallard a bunch and had it closed down, but it was a good store. They were friends of ours and things like that. But we had talked about it the year before we started, and we were like, hey, let's try to find a spot. Never ended up finding anything. Hunting season came around, and it kind of got on the back burner. And then I think it was the year we opened, I started looking again about March and found this building that we're in today. It was just kind of a blank slate, which is what we were looking for to kind of put our own design into it. And then we purchased this building, renovated the whole thing, put upstairs in it, and then opened in 3 months. We bought it, renovated it, and opened in about 3.5 months.
Okay.
So it was a quick turnaround from what it was to what it is now. But yeah, it's been fun. It's been very challenging. A lot of learning moments. A lot of just bumps in the road that we've been having, but we're starting to figure it all out. And this coming up year should be one of our best years. We grew almost 50% over one hunting season to the next, which is pretty big growth there. This is I call it our dead time, but we'll be slow for about 2 weeks, and then turkey season started ramping up, and turkey season was pretty big for us last year, so we expect it to be about the same. And we're going to have events
too.
Yeah, crappie fishing's a big.
John's happy about
that. Yeah, he is. He is. But yeah, we'll have a event. When was it? March 4th. We're going to have a bunch of people here and doing like a turkey call, and I think we may have the president NWTF here and stuff like that to kind of kick off our turkey season. And then we'll have our second annual Crawfish Bowl April 18th.
Okay.
Which is, we did it on Thursday last year, but we're going to do it on a Saturday this year.
Okay. Is that free to everybody, or just sell tickets?
Free
or
to
just come
everybody.
get some free crawfish.
Free crawfish. We'll provide the crawfish.
That's tough to come by nowadays, man. Crawfish prices.
We just
going
ask
through
you
the
to come
roof.
inside and support the business, but
Support the business.
yeah,
Buy something, eat some crawfish.
whatever you want to do. But we'll have a lot of stuff going on. We'll
That'll be
we'll
a
probably
lot of
have
fun.
kid stuff outside, and we'll have a kid singing. He wants to come and sing and do things like that.
Yeah.
So it'll be fun.
Yeah.
But still kind of ironing everything out. But that's the 2 dates that we know going to be doing some, and then we're probably going to do a fish fry in the summer at some point.
Okay.
So
That's always fun.
we're trying to have little events,
Yeah.
you know, in our town just to get the community around. You know, you may not hunt and fish, but I mean, you may like crawfish or, you know,
Well,
stuff
also,
like
I mean,
that.
y'all sell like
Casual wear.
casual
all
wear,
that.
lifestyle stuff. You know, like it's not just hunting stuff, and that's another thing too is that y'all are a local business.
Yes.
And I'm all about supporting our local businesses here in Madison, Gluckstadt, and yes, like you don't have to be a super big hunter, but I'm sure that there's stuff. I mean, from all types. If you enjoy the outdoors, there's something for you here.
Oh yeah. I mean, we have Southern Marsh and things like that, and
Phone call.
That's all
right. Silence my phone.
but yeah, Southern Marsh and Orvis. You know, the Orvis store in Ridgeland closed down, and we had a conversation with them the other day, and I think we're having another one tomorrow. But we're going to start to carry a little bit more of that stuff since the store there closed down, and it was a big market and stuff like that. So we're just trying to get better each year.
There you go.
That's what we're trying to do.
So what were you doing before? I said you got in real estate 2-3 years ago. Started this year and a half ago. So what were you doing before you got into all this?
I was doing selling life insurance and doing investments and stuff like that. And I was like, I had to get away from the desk and wanted to get out in the, I had a passion for land for a long time, you know.
Because you grew up here in Madison, so you went to Ole Miss.
Yep.
And then did you major in
marketing?
So you majored in marketing.
Yep.
Went straight into the insurance business?
Yes, I did. I did that for about 3-4 years, and then I was like, hey, I probably want to do something else. And we had, I've hunted my whole life. We've had our own property. We developed that property, and then we sold it and went to the place we are now. And then I just like to watch the whole process kind of go, and thought it would be good. And then now I have the hunting store, so it's even more into it.
What did your wife think when you were like, I don't think I'm quitting my job and going into real estate?
She's been very supportive. So she was a little weary at first, but
did you instantly switch, or did you kind of
I gradually kind of came into it. You had to take your test and things like that.
Yeah.
Kind of
so you're still working as you're getting licensed, but then once you kind of
I got licensed, I just came straight on in. Yeah, and then Joseph and Adam have been a big help, and just trying to continue to grow. With opening this, it kind of deterred me from trying to, not deterred, but shift my focus there for a little while, and now we've kind of gotten this in a spot to where I can kind of start to shift my focus back and focus even more on real estate and trying to get more and more into that. So that's what I'm gonna try to do this year is set some days I'm here and set days I'm there.
I know it's hard, just because you're a business owner and there's always something that's going to be happening, and then it's like you're a real estate agent, and it's like trying to find that balance. But hopefully you've got into a spot now that it can carry some more of the day-to-day stuff, so you don't have to physically be here.
Yeah, these next week or two, we're going to try to get all of our ordering done for fall. So we don't have to think about it again, which we will. You think about it every day, but it is crazy that you already have to order for the next season. It took us a season to kind of be like, okay, I got to think ahead. But now, we got turkey guns in the middle of January, so we're kind of already getting better and better at that. We already have TSS here. We already have stuff like that. So just trying to stay ahead of everybody and show that you're the first person that has that product is a big thing too.
Yep.
Because social media is, the king of the world at the moment. But,
no, it's just nice because I've definitely seen as y'all have grown, been here a little bit more, just the quality of brands that y'all have too. Yep. So that's something that's definitely picked up, and I know I can come in and probably grab what I want. Yeah. And that's. That's always kind of been my thing about going to hunting stores. I'll just order it online because I'm the odds of them having what I need. Yeah. But I've been, very happy to, like I said, see that, y'all have associated yourself with some high quality brands, and I know that y'all are continuing to, push getting more and more of that too.
Yeah, there's a lot of shift going on right now in the hunting industry in general. I mean, Sitka just fired their CEO the other day. So, there's just a lot of stuff that's happening.
They just launched a fishing line.
Yep. It's pretty nice stuff. And only select dealers are going to have it from what I know.
Yeah.
But, there's stuff that is happening right now that's kind of on the back burner, but we're eventually are hopefully going to have some of those brands.
Yeah.
Some of those big brands like Poncho and Sitka. And, I wish we could get Yeti, but they keep, I don't know. Everybody has Yeti. I really want
Shout out Yeti if you're listening to this.
Shout out.
Yeah. Sip Outdoors needs some Yeti products.
Some coolers and
we need some
stuff
coolers.
Like
Come on.
And cups and all that. It's those big name brands that are kind of holding us back a little. Not really, but if you're like, hey, Sip Outdoors has Yeti or Sitka or stuff like that, you're like, okay, I'm gonna go there.
Yeah.
Regardless. So,
which is
good.
It definitely helps.
Yeah.
Okay, I got you. Well, what do you see happening in kind of 2026, like with the store and also kind of like with real estate? I mean, I know it's kind of two separate categories, but I do feel like they're related just because we are involved so much in land. Where do you see the direction going for the store for 2026?
I see it going in a good direction, like a growing direction.
We're talking about like building out more, like growing physical space.
Yeah, we're gonna expand our store a little bit this year, and then build on to have more space, and then kind of redesign how we do things outside, like loading corn and stuff like that. So. There's some big things coming. Some other stuff I can't really say much about, but we'll definitely, if you want to follow along on social media, Sip Outdoors on social media, pretty much we'll pull it up. We'll keep you informed of what we're doing and stuff like that. But we're going to kind of take out the storage area and have one just big place that everything's on the floor. There's going to be nothing in the bag anymore. Just try to be like, hey, this is what we have in stock. And this is, I'm not going to have to walk around and be like, hey, hold on a second. Yeah. We're still going to help out and still be, things like that. But it's just, we've been talking to a lot of people and they're like, if it's in the back, it's not doing anything for you.
Yeah.
It's just sitting there, not, making you any money or whatever you want to think about.
Just kind of taking up space, gets forgot about.
Yeah. So there's a lot of stuff going on. And then as far as real estate, I mean, hopefully they say the rates are going to go down, and I think they will. I think it's going to take the new guy getting in and stuff like that. But
sorry.
Oh, you're fine. Just getting over the flu. So
yes, it was horrible, absolutely horrible. But yeah, I think we are seeing projections that rates should be coming down.
I've been getting. Overall, I've been getting more calls of like, hey, this is what I'm thinking. This is what I'm going to do. This is, things like that. And there's a lot of people that are waiting on the sidelines still, even to sell their property, just to watch rates go down to maybe hopefully get that extra $5-10 grand that they wanted to get.
Yeah. And I've already seen an uptick. I feel like it slowed down a little bit over the fall, but then, kind of the new year, the problem is kind of the same thing as the housing market is like so many of these landowners that have had these properties for say 5-6 years that would be thinking about either selling them. Maybe they came in disimprovement or maybe like, lifestyles changed. You may want to up some acreage or add on some acreage. Well, you bought at a 3-something% interest and that was like free money. And now you're looking at stuff that are in the low 6s, maybe some stuff into the high 5s. But we're just now kind of getting there. So stuff's been in the 7%. And so it's kind of hard to walk away from a 3% interest rate. And so you've got a lot of those landowners that are, I wouldn't say they're stuck, but they're like, hey, like I'm kind of content. Right now.
A lot of homeowners the same way. I mean, myself included. I mean, I got a 299 and my wife's like, hey, we need a bigger house. I'm like, let's just wait and see what happens, and we'll probably start looking towards the end of this year, beginning of next. But I think rates will be down in the
So we actually just got a house under contract. So our house is on the market right now, and so but what I'm kind of seeing is definitely a buyer's market for now. I think it's about to really shift here in the next month or two. It always March, April really picks up, but I think that over the last couple months, inventory had been kind of low. Now you're starting to see some inventory pop up, but buyers aren't really in a hurry. It's kind of like there's stuff available. Like when we bought our house, it went on the market that day. We submitted an offer. There's 3 offers on it that day, and we got lucky and got
My house wasn't even completed when I bought it. Yeah. They still had they had like 2 or 3 weeks left to complete it, and I'm like, well, y'all complete it, and we'll move in on a certain day. But yeah, it wasn't even finished.
Yeah. So you're seeing, like kind of going to those crazy, the COVID rates and stuff like that. But I do think that people are kind of like on the fence of waiting on some interest rates to like come down, and also it's just time of year.
Yeah.
It really does.
A lot of people save up for Christmas, so then then they have to save another month, 2-3 months after that, and then you start seeing people start to get interested in it.
Real estate it follows the school year. It always does.
It does.
It's just people kind of settling back in. We got through the holidays, and we just got through hunting season and stuff.
Pretty much once spring break hits, then they're like, okay, let's start to think about it, and let's go look at a few things, and then. It does kind of follow school.
Yeah, and we are seeing a trend down in interest rates. Like we got quoted like a high 5, like on our next house, and which I'm like, oh, was it 3.25 on my other one? But but based on a 30-year average, like that's average or below average.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people have the kind of the 3% hangover. That
I don't know if we'll ever see.
No, and
that
I don't
again.
know if it was
I don't
good.
know.
Like, I don't think it was good for the housing market or for it to go down that quickly.
Yeah.
Because now we kind of see what happened over the last couple of years, and kind of I would not say it was a housing crisis, but
if it would have stayed around 3.5 to 4, somewhere around in there, I don't know if it would have ever slowed down. Really,
Yep.
It would have jumped up to the 7, and people would have slowed down some. But once it got to where it is now, people would have started buying like crazy again.
Yeah, and that's another thing. You had a lot of investors that were coming in and scooping up houses, which is smart.
Yeah,
you go right ahead and do that, but you're pricing out people that are trying to buy their primary home. And I saw it in our neighborhood. People were scooping up houses because why wouldn't you if you can get a sub 3% interest rate? And
turn around
and
rent it for
like
$2,000 or whatever.
Like either
it is.
like you can't rent my neighborhood, but like just
my neighborhood.
another like either rent a property or just know you're going to sit on it and make $100,000 in 5 years, and it's like why wouldn't you do that?
Yeah,
but so you had a lot of people that were buying up houses as commodities, which. This is America. You can do that. I'm all for it. But at the same time, you also have to acknowledge that you also are pricing people out of being able to buy their primary home.
Yeah.
And that's where it's kind of like,
now your first time home buyer homes out where I live are $300,000.
It is. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
I went back in 2020. I bought mine for $245,000. Yeah. That's a $60,000 increase just on a new home.
Yeah.
So, which it's, good for people that bought it then,
Yeah, because
but other than my sister, she bought hers, but their interest rate's like 7%, and I'm like,
and wages have not caught up with inflation.
No, they have not.
So that's the thing. It's like we've seen houses appreciate $100,000 over the last 6 years.
Yeah.
I don't think salaries have gone up $100,000 over the last 6 years. I'll speak for myself. I haven't seen like a super increase in people with normal jobs. It hadn't caught up, and so I think that's another reason why. We see this big spike, but then now it's kind of like leveled off, and so I think things are kind of just resetting.
Yeah, I was talking to somebody here, somebody that works for me here, and she was like, "Yeah, I want to buy a house," and I'm like, "Okay, well let's do all the things." She's like, "I think I need a raise too," and I'm like. Let's go talk to somebody first because that's the misconception too of like, hey, I need all this money for a down payment when in reality you don't. So
yes,
but no, it's a challenging time now.
And that's where like hooking our clients up with like good lenders. And it's just like I tell everybody, they start asking me, I'm like, hey, I'm not a lender.
I can't answer these questions,
but I'm going to refer you to someone who is going to walk you through this path. And I think that's why like having a good team makes the process so easy for our clients, is because it's like, hey, you're not just getting a realtor. You're going to get a connection to a lender. You're going to get a connection to a closing attorney. You're going to get connection to insurance, like all these things. It's like you need, because like these are guys that we do and girls that we do business with all the time. And we want to provide those services for our clients because we want to make it streamlined. I know when I first bought my house, I was like terrified. So I was like, how do you even go about it? And our realtor at the time was phenomenal. Hooked us up with, lender and just the whole process. And like, and I was like, wow, that was so much easier than I thought when you have like a good team. And so that's like, I've always tried to do that for like all my clients, because I think it can be scary. I work with a lot of first time home buyers, and I'm like, guys, there is a path to home ownership. It's not as difficult as it seems, but you've got to start having those conversations. And that's why like getting someone paired up with a good lender that can set them up on that roadmap. They might be further along. They might be closer to buying that house than they thought they were. And that was another thing. When I got, when we were getting this new house under contract, I talked to my lender, and, he was giving us like the numbers, and I was like, wow, that was a lot better than what I thought. Like I was like thinking I was going to have to put up more money and, down payment, whatever. And gave me the numbers, and I was like, sweet. Like I was like, but I wouldn't have known that unless I'd reached out. So if you're on the fence about buying a house, just, you really need to have a conversation with a lender. Or reach out to us. We'll put you in contact with some really good people. And start that conversation, because it is a way that you can start building wealth, and having an asset. Like, so we both bought houses. I bought in 2020. You bought when in 2020.
June.
And so like we've seen that appreciation that now I'm going to be able to roll that equity into like my next home. But if you got to rent, like for now, then like rent. But that's why you need to have that conversation like with your lender. Because like, I think a lot of people are thinking that a lender is just going to try to, they're just trying to sell me a mortgage. It's like, no, like they want you to be successful. And like, it's gotten a lot more stringent about a loan approval because of 2008. You don't want another housing market crash. So,
but even saying that,
the people I'm going to refer you to are going to tell you if you need to rent or buy. They're going to be 100% with you.
They're not going to be like, oh, yeah, you definitely need to buy it. They'll be like, hey, I think you should do this for a few years, as opposed to just diving into it. So,
yes, absolutely.
Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with renting. I mean, there's people that just rent.
We rented for 4 years before we bought a house.
Exactly. I mean, it's just, and you're like, oh, I'll just go to an apartment complex. Well, that apartment complex is getting up in there to where it's probably just as much as a house is. So would you rather have a small 800 square foot area or 1,500 to 2,000?
We were renting a house in Jackson, and our rent went down when we bought a house, like into our mortgage. It was $100 less a month. And like my wife being a physician, we didn't have to put anything down like on the loan. And so I was like, how is this like legal? I was like, we just went from renting a house to like buying a house. I didn't have to like put anything down. Now I'm paying less than what I was paying in rent. I'm like, make this make sense. But there's loan programs out there that people can tap into and take advantage of. And that's why it's like, sit down with a lender. There's VA loans, there's USDA. I mean, there's so many programs out there. And now like you can pull from different retirement accounts that you can use, tax-free. I mean, there's so many options out there for home ownership. And I think that a lot of people just get kind of overwhelmed by the process, and then also don't want to be taken advantage of, because, that's, hey, I don't want to be house poor either. So that's why, like, man, having a conversation with a good lender is definitely a way to start if you're on the fence of, wanting to buy a house. So,
I agree with that.
But, man, I really do appreciate you coming on.
Hey,
I enjoyed this. Enjoyed it. We'll have to do it again sometime.
Hey, that sounds good. When the biologists come, I wouldn't mind being here.
We'll get that set up for sure. And
I got someone we need to talk to.
So. Yeah, we might have to do a mobile podcast from our
that'd
goose
be
trip
fun.
coming up.
That'd be great.
So looking forward to that. We got a little goose conservation hunt coming up. So.
And then we got turkey hunting in the spring.
Got Rio's April. But we're going to Arkansas in a couple of weeks to light use conservation. I've never done that before.
I hadn't either. I'm excited about it.
Me too.
So I wish I could get one of those extended plugs. That
I wonder if there's a hunting store.
Maybe.
I don't know. My thing is, I'm already my ears. I'm going to definitely be wearing earplugs.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to shoot 10 times because that's only
My
2
shoulder's
volleys
gonna-
per box.
yeah.
If you really think about it, you're like,
Dang. Yeah.
there's only
You're gonna-
25
you're
shots in
gonna
a
go-
box.
You're going to go
So-
through some boxes.
Yeah. I'm
speaking
like,
of
I'm going
that,
to bring extra cases.
I do need to buy a case of shells before I leave here today.
that sounds good.
All right, dude. Well, I appreciate you coming on.
All right. Thank you.